This book is called Jalapeno Hal. It's by Joe Harper and pictures are by Jennifer Beck Harris. And it's dedicated to D. Aaron, who sang the Tales tune. He may not wear boots or a 10-gallon hat, but no other Texan was ever tougher. Jalapeno Hal was a rough, tough cowboy. He was tough as a boot. He was tough as nails. He was tough as a horned-toad's hide in summer. His heart was made of stone, and he was proud of it. Jalapeno Hal rode a red Mustang named Cayenne. They roamed in Big Bend, the roughest part of Texas, but they didn't wander down by the Rio Grande where there was water, because every few days a boatload of people would go by making noises. That irritated Hal.
Turn it so I can see the...
Turn the book?
Mm-hmm.
That irritated Hal. Out where Hal roamed, the only sound was his own lonesome song. You ready for this? Give me a chili pepper, a jalapeno pepper, toss me a little hot pepper. Picante is what I need. People used to wonder how Hal could live in that bone-dry country where there wasn't water, just coyotes and mountain lions and rattlesnakes. But Hal didn't care. He was mean, and he had mean breath, scorching hot breath. This was because Jalapeno Hal ate so many jalapeno peppers. If he frowned at a coyote, that coyote would slink away. If he blew his hot jalapeno breath at a mountain lion, that lion would leap over boulders to get back to the mountain. And Hal ate rattlesnakes. He ate them in rattlesnake stew. Sometimes Hal had to go to town. Sometimes he needed a lariat or a new pair of boots or a new Stetson hat. When that happened, he went to Presidio. Presidio is the biggest city out there in West Texas in his region. But being so close to people made Hal scowl. Jalapeno Hal was a rough, tough cowboy, and the folks in Presidio were scared of him. Mervyn Manning's fat, happy baby, Essie Mae, started crying whenever Hal walked by. Billy Bob Barker and Fannie Faye Cox hid behind their mama's skirts. Strong Sheriff Hawkins shook in his boots. Even Buck Garrett, the burly blacksmith, trembled and turned pale. And the meanest dog in town, old Bravo, whimpered and hid. That Hal is tough. But there was one person in Presidio who wasn't scared. It was a boy. This boy lived with his mama Sadie. She was a widow woman, and they lived in a tidy little house with flowers all around it. Sadie had named her son Christopher, and she wanted him to be kind and gentle. Christopher called himself Kit. He wanted to be tough. When Jalapeno Hal rode to Presidio, Kit gave Cayenne a cookie. When Hal rode down the street, Kit followed, riding tough and eating jalapeno pepper just like his hero. Hal never scowled at Kit. When Sadie saw Kit following Jalapeno Hal, she felt nervous. When Kit came home, she scolded, "Christopher, you worry me completely crazy. Jalapeno Hal is too rough and tough. Go brush your teeth. You have got horrible jalapeno breath." But Sadie didn't need to worry. Hal never stayed in Presidio long. He always rode away into the sunset. And when he did, Kit missed him. Time passed. Every day as Kit rode his new pony Pepper, he kept looking toward the horizon, hoping to see his heroes coming. Then a terrible thing happened in Presidio. It didn't rain for a long time, and the wells dried up, Sadie's flowers died, the grass turned brown, the trees began to wither. Nobody could take a bath. Dust blew in the streets. Horses quit whinnying, cows didn't moo. The meanest dog in town, old Bravo, quit growling. Finally, folks couldn't talk to each other anymore because their throats were so dry. The whole town of Presidio was silent. Can you imagine that? Something had to be done, and Kit knew what it was. He mounted Pepper and headed for Big Bend. It was a long, hot, thirsty ride, but Kit found Hal leaning against a cactus, cooking rattlesnake stew. Kit cleared his throat, and in a dry, raspy voice he told Hal of the troubles in Presidio. "We need the help of a tough hombre," he said. Hal narrowed his eyes, tipped his head back against the cactus, and he thought. He could feel his stone-hard cold against his ribs. Look at him. Then Hal looked Kit straight in the eyes. "I'm the toughest hombre in Texas," he said. "I'm the man for the job." He jumped on Cayenne and he waved for Kit and Pepper to follow. They struck out for the Mexican border. When they got to the Rio Grande, Kit thought they would fill some barrels and carry water back to Presidio. But they didn't. They just paused long enough for Kit to wet his whistle. Then, riding past rocks and cactus, they headed into Mexico. And as the two tough cowboys rode across the desert, Hal taught Kit this song. This would be sounding familiar by now. Give me a chili pepper, a jalapeno pepper, toss me a little hot pepper, picante's what I need. Hal and Kit kept going until they came to a big field of peppers. Then they jumped off their horses and started picking peppers as fast as they could. They picked baskets of jalapeno peppers. They picked sacks of chili peppers. They filled their hats with peppers. They started back to Presidio loaded down with peppers. Have you ever seen so many peppers? Goodness. When they arrived, Hal and Kit started handing out peppers. They gave them to Sheriff Hawkins, to Billy Bob Barker, Fannie Faye Cox, Mervyn Manning. They even gave them to baby Essie Mae, and they gave a hatful to Burly Black Garrett, and of course, they gave them to Sadie. Then they gave peppers to the horses, the cows, and the dogs. Hal said, "Eat 'em!" Nobody in Presidio wanted to eat those peppers, but they were scared of Hal, so they did. Everybody in Presidio chomped jalapeno peppers. Everybody in Presidio munched chili peppers. Now, peppers were hot, mighty hot. "Eat more, jalapeno," Hal yelled. Folks' noses stung, their eyes watered, and their tongues were on fire. But when Hal yelled, everybody in Presidio trembled and crammed their mouths full. "Chew faster," Hal said. Sheriff Hawkins chewed faster. Buck Garrett chomped. So did Billy Bob and Fannie Faye. Even Essie Mae crunched more and more peppers. The dogs, the cows, the horses gobbled faster and faster. And then steam started coming out of their ears. Steam started coming out of their noses. Soon the whole town of Presidio was covered with steam. The steam got thicker and thicker, like a heavy fog. The fog gathered into a cloud and rose into the air. Lightning flashed. Thunder rolled. All the folks in Presidio stopped chewing. They looked up at the sky and they grinned. They hadn't seen a storm in a long, long time. Rain began to fall. It fell on the dry flower beds. It fell on the brown grass. It fell on the wilted trees. It filled the horses' troughs, the cow tanks, and the dog bowls. It filled the city lake. The folks in Presidio tipped back their heads, opened their grinning mouths, and let the raindrops run down theirs, burning dry throats. Just look at those clouds, will you? Soon children were splashing in puddles. Cows mooed, horses whinnied. Old Bravo frolicked like a puppy. Folks lifted Hal and Kit up into their shoulders and they marched around the town square. They yelled, "Yippee for Kit!" Then they yelled, "Hooray for Jalapeno Hal!" Right then, Jalapeno Hal decided that some sounds were nice to hear. He decided that sometimes it was fun to be around people. And as soon as he decided that, he felt his stone heart melt and turn into jello. These days, Hal doesn't live all alone in Big Bend. He didn't tell anybody that his heart had gone soft, but nobody was scared of him anymore. They elected him mayor of Presidio. He keeps jalapeno peppers in the town hall for emergencies. These days, Sadie thinks Hal is pretty good company, now that she eats jalapeno peppers too. She doesn't mind his hot breath so much anymore. Hal, Sadie, and Kit often walk to the edge of town to watch the sun set over the mountains. Look at the lovely couple. But Hal is still tough. Tough as a nail, tough as a boot, tough as a horned-toad's hide in winter. And so is Kit. Sometimes Hal and Kit get feeling cramped. Then they just saddle up, cayenne and pepper, and head for Big Bend, where there are wide open spaces and plenty of quiet. They don't mind the coyotes and the mountain lions. They eat the rattlesnakes, and they've been known to sing as they roam. Are you ready for this? Give me a chili pepper, a jalapeno pepper, toss me a little hot pepper, picante's what I need. The end.